Hi everyone, Cindy Angel here. I'm popping in today to share with you a how-to video on viewing SVG files and a thumbnail preview on a Mac computer. Towards the end of the video, I will also be sharing with you a summary of how I personally organized all of my SVG files and how I can quickly see what it is I have in my inventory and find those files on my hard drive in about 2 or 3 minutes. It goes really fast. And I do this using the macOS native Photo app program. So hang in there till the end of the video if that's something that you're interested in. The person who asked this question was asking specifically because she seemed to be unable to view her SVGs in thumbnail view when using her external hard drive. So I will share this information with you using my external hard drive, which is where I happen to save my SVG files anyway. This process works exactly the same whether you're on an external drive or an internal drive. So what you see here is my desktop with my external drive plugged in. So let's go ahead and open that up. And you will see over here on this side where I'm on this SYN second hard drive. That's what I'm looking at here. It's an external hard drive. Now I set up some sample SVGs so that I can explain how to do this. So let's go into this folder. And you will see I have a folder for each of these 3 different sets of SVGs. And we're going to look specifically in the Special Heart Studio SHS file folder where I have 2 SVGs setting out loose. And then inside each of these folders, I have more SVGs. So the first thing you will notice that on these 2 SVG files, the little icon that you see here does not show a thumbnail preview of the file. Up here is an option button that lets you change the way you view things. That's one way where I'll be able to make some changes. But another way, if I wanted to stay in list view, which is what I'm in right now, is to simply go over to my show view options and change my icon size from the small size to the larger size. And you can see automatically the larger size icon will show a tiny little thumbnail of that file. If that's large enough for you to see, then you're pretty much done and you don't need to do anything else. But if you really want to see them in a larger view, then change your view from list to either icons or gallery. If you view it in columns, you will not be able to see the thumbnails. So let's choose icons first so you can see what that looks like. Here again, you can see this SVG and this one, you can see the thumbnails. If this still isn't large enough for you, you can go back to the show view options, which I'm right-clicking to access that. I believe you can access it also using this menu item. Yes, it's down here. So it looks like you could also use your Command J option key to get to that. And then you can change the view, the size of those icons by moving this option right here to get to a larger view. So that's another way you can do it. Now let's look at these files using the gallery view. In the gallery view, what you're going to see is a row down here representing everything that's in the folder, and clicking on each file will give you the information. So I am looking at the SVG file for each of these as I click on them. I will also get some information about the file pop up over here. So that is yet another way you can view all of your files that are SVG in thumbnail view. Here's another option that's available to those of you who just want to use the Finders window to track your files and you're really not interested in using the Photos program. With this option, you're actually viewing the final projects, and that might be of more interest to you or more useful to you. So let me show you that before I move on to the summary of how to use the Photos app. Here we are once again looking at my external hard drive. And I've got open for us the sample SVG thumbnail views folder once again, just like in the last example. This time, instead of looking in the Special Hearts Studio file folder, let's look in the Dreaming Tree file folder. Each time I have received a zipped file from Dreaming Tree and from many others as well, inside the zipped file is packaged a file folder that holds maybe a project menu and a picture of the project, along with a folder that holds all the SVGs, and sometimes several folders nested underneath that SVG folder that has additional information in it. Let's look at this on a larger scale. So here I can't see my SVGs. Let's change the view for just a moment over to icons so that we can see the SVGs in this folder. What does seeing these SVGs in thumbnail preview tell me? It doesn't tell me what the final project is going to look like. All it does is tell me that I have multiple SVGs in order to create this project. But viewing them in thumbnail view doesn't really do anything at all for me. If I go up one level more, this picture right here is the picture that I actually want to see because it shows me the final project. This is a JPEG file. This is what I really want to view when I'm searching all my files to see what it is I want to make. Not all of these files. I need to keep them because I will use them when I make the project, but viewing them in thumbnail preview doesn't do anything for me. I'm back at the level in my file system where I'm looking at the file folders for each of the websites where I gather SVG cutting files from. In each of these folders, I have a pics folder at the very top. Inside this file folder, I have pictures of all the finalized projects.
When looking in this Finder window, I can see all the projects that I have, and this makes more sense to me than looking at the individual SVG file thumbnails that sometimes depicts nothing more than maybe one layer of a whole bunch of files I need to complete the project. I shared that option with you primarily to demonstrate how looking at final project photos is probably more helpful to you than looking at SVG files in thumbnail format. That's the option I used before I started using the Photos app to track all of my files, and I found it easier for me than just tracking SVG files by themselves. So let me share with you my personal organization system now. It takes me about 1 or 2 minutes to find any file I want before I start a new cutting project. And with hundreds of files, it's well worth the effort to put things in order, so it's easier for me to find things.
Back inside my external hard drive, once again, you can see that I have 3 separate MACos Photo program libraries. And inside each of these libraries, I only track that type of SVG file. So let me show you what that library looks like. We'll stick with the paper ones because that's what we were looking on before. And what I've just done there is I opened up my MACos Photos program. This one right here is what the icon looks like for my paper SVG files. And you're looking at all of the projects that I have in my inventory. So let's bring this down a little bit and you can see they're all mixed up here. Everybody's all mixed up, and that's because I'm in the full library. If I wanted to look at them based on the website where they came from, I would go down here to where my albums are, and I would see these are the ones that I have from Awesome SVG, right? These are the ones I have from Heather M. And it's showing me how many photos I have representing the various projects. And so let's go down here to Special Hearts Studio, and it shows that I have 37 photos representing the various projects that I have in my inventory from Special Hearts Studio. Now I have taken the time to tag each of these, and the tags is what I use to find specific projects out of all of the folders. So for example, if I wanted to look for an Easter project to work on, I would go up here to my search bar and I would type in Easter, and I can see that I have 30 items tagged with the word Easter. And so I click on that and it brings up just those 30. Now this is not 30 pictures, obviously, so let's click See All and it'll bring up all of them for me. Let's make this smaller so you can see the full list there. And I'm going to make one of these projects. Let's just say, for example, this is the one I've decided to make. So now I need to know, where is the files located for this particular project? Where are those on my hard drive? So I'm going to click the information button and it brings up this little box here that has all the information about that file. What I'm looking at is in the title name, Easter Basket Place Card 3D SVG, tells me that this is the zip folder name right here. Easter Basket Place Card is what I'm going to be looking for in the alphabetical listing. 3D SVG is the folder where that's going to be found. So let's see how long it takes me to go and find that file. Easter Basket Place Card is what that's called. So let's minimize this window, stick it off to the side. And over here on my external hard drive, I'm looking in my SVG paper folders. I'm going to scroll down to this one right here, Dreaming Tree 3D SVG. Remember, the information box here tells me it's in the 3D SVG. Right here is a tag I've used also that says Dreaming Tree. So it makes it really easy for me to know this is the folder I want to go to. So we're going to open that up. And if I remember correctly, that one was called Easter Basket Place Card, right? Isn't that what that one was called? Easter Basket Place Card. So just like that, I have now located the compressed folder that holds all of the SVGs for this project. So let's go ahead and open that up. And now that that file is open, I can come in here, and the way that this is packaged is they have all the SVGs in an extra folder, and it looks like there are 3 files that will build that project for me. These are the 3 files that I will load into my software that connects to my cutting machine, and I will go ahead and make the project. After I've cut out the project and made it, I no longer need this to be opened like this anymore, taking up this much space, because I've got the zip file right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and send this to the trash, get it out of my way, get it off of my hard drive. And I have this one preserved for the next time I want to make this project. So you can see it took me just a couple of minutes to come into my library, look for an Easter project, find the one that I wanted to do based on the picture of the final project rather than looking at individual SVG files. I found this on my external drive and it took me less than a minute to do it. It took me a little bit longer just because I'm explaining it to you as I go this time. So that's how that works for me. Super quick and easy. In the Facebook group where this subject came up, somebody asked me how to make additional photo libraries using the photo app. So let me show you that real quick before I let you go. Here we are back on my desktop again with my external hard drive plugged in. And I'm going to show you how to create a new photo library so that if you decide you want to use a separate library to organize and track your SVG file inventory, you can do that without it being included in, say, your family photos or your work photo library, whichever other libraries you might have. So in order to create a new library using the MACos Photos program, you will hold down your Option key and click on the Photo app icon. I have mine sitting on the desktop, but you might need to access yours from the Launchpad or from the Finder window in your application file folder. Whichever one works best for you is fine, as long as you remember hold down the Option key when you click the program open. At this point, a new window will pop up to show you all the various libraries that you've already created. If you have one that you're using for your family photos or your work photos, it's probably going to be located right here. And we don't want to disturb that one. We want to create a new one in this case. So we will click this button down here that says Create New. And option window pops up where I can type in the name of the new library I want to do. So we'll do SVG test. as an example, and where it is I want to locate it. So I'm going to locate it on my desktop for this sample. Then I click OK, and the new library will be built just like that. One thing that I didn't mention is that on my Mac, I am currently running Mac Big Sur. And so if any of the options I told you to click here, click there, if they're not available on your system, it could be because you're not using Big Sur. But I'm pretty sure that most of the things I told you are actually on even older versions of the Mac OS right now. So you should be good to go on all of those. I remember using those before I ever upgraded to Big Sur. So maybe they'll work for a couple OS systems back. I'm not really sure. Um, okay, so if you all want any more information about how to set up your file structure and your naming convention and those pictures in the background, if you want to know how to get all that in place before you build a library, whether you're using the photo app or you're using something like Adobe Bridge, whatever it is you decide to use, if you want to know how to set those things up in the background, let me know and I'll see about putting together a tutorial that's a paper product and maybe a video product too, so that you all can see what I'm doing. Just let me know. Thanks. Bye.